What's up everybody, my name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon in the crypto universe. Today's Thursday, July 30th. Now, in today's video, Michael Saylor himself has reposted Casey Rodarmor's and Aaron's Hell Money podcast, where they talk about how Ordinals and runes will not be affected by BIP 110. Now, this repost has garnered a lot of attention, and as you know, Michael Saylor is one of the main public figures within the Bitcoin space. But not only that, we also have to address that Dog flipped Doge in terms of gains over the past week. It's the top performing meme coin amongst all the blue chip meme coins. And obviously we're going to be looking into charting, because if you've noticed with the Dog price, we see that right now Dog is above the 50-day moving average line currently. So let's get right into it. I don't want to waste any time. This is going to be a juicy video. So let's go ahead and smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X. Please be careful with any of the scammers down in the comments below. I'll never reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct messaging, or email. So please be careful and invest safely. Guys and girls, let's get right into it. So right now, Dog is still at around 60 to 62 million market cap. Not much has changed. It is up 4% in the past 24 hours, but that can change any moment. The point is that Dog has been fighting around the 50-day moving average line. As you can see, it goes up and below, and it's going up right now, but it wouldn't be a surprise if it went below it again. But what I'm also paying attention to is the 200-day moving average line. We will talk about this at the very end of the video. Now, if you don't know, CoinMarketCap, if you go to the right side, they added and integrated a DEX swap. So if you go to trade, you can see that Dog on the Dog listing page on CoinMarketCap. You can connect your Phantom wallet or any other Solana-based wallet, and you can literally buy Dog directly on CoinMarketCap. So if you have, like, say, for instance, 5 Solana that you want to buy through the CoinMarketCap DEX, you can see that what you'll get for 5 Solana is around 599,000 Dog. Isn't that kind of cool? This is a huge game changer in terms of allowing people to buy Dog, the Solana wrap version, on one of the most visited cryptocurrency news sources out there. Now, you see that Dog right now, as I mentioned before, had flipped Dogecoin in trading volume over the past week. Well, it flipped many other different coins. Just check out this whole chart within the past week. Most of the other coins are actually in the losses, meaning they actually haven't had any gains. Only Dogecoin and Dog have been a positive return over the past week. As you can see, everything else has dropped significantly since then. So why do you think Dog is doing quite well? It's because we like to thank a lot of the BIP 110 supporters, such as Luke and everybody within the BIP 110 cult, for promoting Dog and runes and ordinals. Their attempted soft fork and proposal has actually amplified the awareness around runes and ordinals. As I told you before, bad press or good press equals great press, and that is marketing 101, and we're seeing it play out as we speak. But I want to talk about Luke Dash Jr. and his behavior, because people can tell when somebody's being inauthentic. June 27th, which was just 3 days ago, Jimmy Song was making a poll. He said, will there be more or less trading of coins from either side of the BIP 110 split that comes August 8th? Luke says, there's no split. And this guy responds to him saying, you're right. The existing chain, which is the Bitcoin chain, is the only chain that continues forward. Then Luke says, right, it continues forward with BIP 110, the only proposed forward path, which also has consensus in the Bitcoin community. Then somebody says right to him again, Luke, you say you don't lie. Saying there's consensus is a lie. Explain. Luke says, no, it's not a lie. BIP 110 is how Bitcoin worked for 17 years. It doesn't lose consensus overnight just because Core 30 changes things over widespread opposition. Now, in each one of these posts, each of these three are 3 different lies. There is actually going to be a chain split, just based on what everybody has kind of seen what happens with the amount of less demand from miners. When you don't have a lot of miners supporting it and only node operators are pretty much going through the difficulty period, there eventually is going to be a hard fork or even a soft fork. Either way, there's a chain split. Then in the second response, he says that there's consensus. There's no consensus around this, just to be very quite frank with you. That's another lie within itself. And then he lied the third time, saying that this is part of what Bitcoin's done over the past 17 years, is what BIP 110 is. That's not true. The whole point of BIP 110 is to invalidate certain transactions that they consider non-monetary. That's not what Bitcoin's about. Bitcoin is literally a consensus-based chain that allows anybody to build on top of it or to use it. That's what makes it so global. That's why Satoshi Nakamoto removed himself from Bitcoin, because he didn't want to be a Luke Das Jr. So just in this one image, he lied 3 times. And the ironic thing is, he likes to call other people liars, and he's literally blocked everybody that refutes or rebuttals against him. And that's just his mindset, and also the mindset of the BIP 110 people. Now, if you haven't seen this clip, yesterday, Casey Rodarmor and Aaron released a video called "The Creator of Ordinals Says BIP 110 is Doomed." And it's absolutely informational and educational. But I want to share this clip with you because he explains why runes remain unaffected by BIP 110 regardless of outcome. So I'll play that clip right now.
Casey Rodarmor, as you know, the prime coiner, the Ord father, the prime spammer. I haven't talked about like, oh, how does this affect ordinals? How does this affect runes? The answer is it doesn't, because all of these filters are trivial to get around. Like beyond trivial. Like I don't even need to think about it.
Even if they get 100% of the hash rate, right? Even in a situation where 100% of the miners say, yes, we want BIP 110, you literally just have to do a trivial, like 1 day of work, and ordinals, inscriptions, and runes are still happening on Bitcoin.
And here's the crazy thing. Just a day later, so actually today, Michael Saylor himself reposted this specific interview between Casey and Aaron talking about this. And remember, in this specific interview, they talked about ordinals, they talked about runes, and the failure of BIP 110. Like I said, good or bad press equals great press. And Michael Saylor reposted this to over 5.1 million followers, and a majority of these people are Bitcoiners. And that's the best thing about Dog and runes. They're getting more attention than ever. Michael Saylor is advocating for ordinals, runes, and Dog, just based on this repost. I mean, if you don't believe me, go over to his page. You can scroll down, and there it is. That's the actual image right there and the repost from that specific interview. And again, it talks about ordinals, inscriptions, and runes. Even mentions down over here why BIP 110 filters are trivial to bypass. Ordinals and runes survive regardless. And this is why everybody's buying Dog, even myself. I just bought Dog today, as you can see on your screen. And another thing I want to share with you is what Leonidas had to say. Dog mode will be the best Bitcoin client ever created. If you are tired of taking orders from Luke Das Jr., who wants to censor runes and ordinals, which they can't, and Adam Back, who considers ordinals and runes to be spam, when you think about runes actually contributing much of the transaction fees that help miners stay around to validate the transactions to keep the network secure rather than going to chase AI to keep their company afloat, Dog mode equals freedom, and is the reason why Bitcoin is still staying alive today, while monetary transactions are at all-time lows because of these institutional ETFs. Okay, so now let's get right into charting and analysis. So again, we've been consolidating sideways around the 60 million range for 63 days now. And as you can see, just at the moment, Dog price is above the 50-day moving average line, which is curving upwards. But that's not the more important thing. I'm always looking at the 200-day moving average. The 200-day continues to go down. That's a good sign. Now, eventually, at one point, they were pretty close to each other, but then it was a fake out and we continued to trend downwards. Who knows if this is another fake out? We don't exactly know. But what I'm seeing here, the difference between this right here and this over here is that we didn't actually see a curvature to the upside. We actually saw a curvature to the downside. Over here, we're actually seeing a curvature to the upside. And you're seeing a curvature to the downside for the 200-day moving average. So that's what I'm seeing right now in terms of Dog price. So ladies and gentlemen, that's it overall. I'm very bullish on Dog, but what you just saw is that Michael Saylor advocated for Dog, runes, and ordinals. To have Michael Saylor, who, again, he puts his money where his mouth is. He isn't all about just talking. He's about buying. And yes, he has been stacking his stablecoin reserves or his USD reserves within his company. He stopped buying Bitcoin, but it doesn't mean he's not bullish around the technology around Bitcoin. The thing is, people still talk about Michael Saylor. It's because he's actually leading by example. No matter if you hate him or judge him or like him or not, it doesn't matter. Michael Saylor is doing something that most people don't do, which is putting a ton of capital into things that he believes in. And other people will just complain about Michael Saylor and they'll just like judge him for what he is. But the thing is, these other people that try to criticize him, they don't vote with their dollars. They just have opinions. And his opinion just shared with you that he loves Casey Rodarmor's opinion and Aaron's opinion around ordinals and runes, why BIP 110 is not going to stop anybody, and why ordinals, runes, and Dog are going to stay around forever. Because again, he's even said himself that transaction fees are going to keep the miners incentivized to stick around. Block rewards that get cut in half every single 4 years aren't going to be around for much longer. Eventually they end in 2140, but every 4 years it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. That means miners will find other sources of revenue in other places. But Dog and runes are here to save that. So So with that said, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I want to thank all of our donors for supporting this channel. Thanks to all of you on screen. You are allowed for this channel to keep reporting on DOG on a daily basis, and I'd like to thank you all. So by supporting this channel, please smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X to receive all of our alpha calls and updates regarding DOG and runes. Until then, see you guys and girls next time.